And I was telling him what was going on. I said, that dog's bark was so noisy, it was ruining my meditation. He said, really? The dog's bark was noisy? I said, of course. So you might know this Kongan where somebody came to Zen Master Unmun and said, what is Buddha? And Unmun said, dry shit on a stick. This is a famous teaching, right? And it's not esoteric. It just is perceiving something very clear in the moment. So this teacher was saying during a Dharma talk, even the smell of dried shit on the stick is the Buddha. Okay. Buddha just means wake up. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you taste? What do you touch? What do you perceive in the moment? And not make anything. If you don't make anything, then we're free. We're not controlled by outside situations, outside conditions, what people are saying or not saying. Everything is truth. And then it allows us to have a lot more opportunities of how to respond to this world, right? It's the reason why we make something, we suffer, but we don't see that because we're always pointing the finger that way. Remember, my grandma says, you know, your finger's pointing always this way, but you have three fingers pointing back to you, right? How many people look in and look at their own mind? So there's a Zen or a Buddhist teaching that says that mind makes everything. If you don't make anything, then what? Then everything is truth. Usually, when people are sitting meditation, they want something. I say this all of the time. We only want quiet sounds, and we want to smell only wonderful things like the uh, the the flowers that are blooming in the garden. We want to feel that cool breeze hitting our skin, right? We want to feel warm and be in silence because that's meditation. But that's just our idea of meditation. This is what I mean by being controlled by outside situations. I had this happen to me when I lived in Seattle. There was one time where I was sitting, learning to practice meditation, and I had this very strong idea of what meditation should be, like I just described. And it was. It was a spring day in Seattle, which means it wasn't raining. It was very sunny, and there was a nice cool breeze coming in. And again, there was, well, this in this case was the smell of the freshly cut grass. It's very quiet. The birds were chirping. Like, ah, oh, this is bliss. This is what meditation's all about. And then all of a sudden, a dog started barking. Woof, 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 woof. I was like, okay, it'll be quiet soon. Woof, woof. Kept going and going and going. In fact, it barked the whole meditation session. And I was so upset that this dog was ruining my meditation. So here's a perfect definition of dissatisfaction, that I have some idea in my head and the outside condition situation doesn't match that idea. We suffer. We're dissatisfied. So I remember talking to the teacher after that sitting period. And I was telling him what was going on. I said, that dog's bark was so noisy, it was ruining my meditation. He said, really? The dog's bark was noisy? I said, of course. Then he said, the dog's bark never said it was noisy. Who made it noisy? And then something opened up in my mind. I made it noisy. So we always talk about clear mind in meditation practice. I use the analogy of a mirror. The reason why is the mirror doesn't have anything in it. It's not holding anything, but it just reflects whatever you point it to. So if I point the mirror to the wall, it's reflecting white. If I point it to the floor, it's reflecting brown, right? It just sees everything as it is. So if there's a dog barking, we don't even hear the dog barking. We are the dog barking, right? Our mind and the sound are not separate. It's only because we separate ourselves from everything else, we create some idea about this world, about ourselves, about meditation, and we suffer. It's very clear. And we know that from our own experience. But if we let it all go and return to this mind before thinking, then it's just woof woof. Woof woof doesn't have good, doesn't have bad, doesn't have quiet, doesn't have noisy, doesn't have peaceful, doesn't have any of these things. It's just woof woof. So, really, that is our practice. Let your mind become like a mirror. Let it reflect everything as it is. Then you're free from outside situations and conditions. And then you can truly do something to help this world. Okay.